We got a guest in the studio today. We've got a guest with 3 names now. We've got Marcus Harrison Green, and he is the publisher of the South Seattle Emerald. Welcome to the Morning Update Show.
Man, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. Fantastic. And you know, I mean, we joke a lot, and actually if you walk around here, you see there's Garfield flags, and there's CD or See Me, and there's, you know, I mean, we CD through and through. But, you know, let's set the facts straight. It was that, like, man, the CD South End is an imaginary border in the sense that, absolutely, man, we're all brothers and we're all sisters. Now, we all have our pride around things that bring us pride. Things that bring us pride are our high schools and our local events, something like Garfield and Rainier Beach and Franklin and things like that. But at the big picture, there's only a few of us that's out here, and we're really all together. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's South End until I'm on my back. I will say that. But, you know, the quote Biggie and the Going Back to Cali song, man, I mean, it doesn't mean I can't, you know, rest in the CD and chill in the CD. And you know, I love my brother and sister and kin in the CD. So. Right,
fantastic. So for most people do know, but for people that don't know, what is the South Seattle Emerald all about? What's its mission? Who do you serve? Why did you launch it? Why is it important?
Man, so it launched 6 years ago. We actually will have our birthday April 24th, so next Thursday officially. But you know, I lived in the South End all my life, and you know, just got tired, you know, growing up there, just the neglect of most of the mainstream media. You would have, you know, people come in and they parachute in and they wanted to talk about crime and urban blight and, you know, any death that happened, but they never really wanted to talk about the life. You know, the life that was here. Especially in the South End, it for a while had the most diverse zip code in the United States. There are 50-some ethnicities who lived there, 85-something different languages that were spoken, and you rarely even heard about that. So for me, it was trying to bring light to that darkness, and the best way you can do that is through information, right? The person who controls your story and controls the narrative usually has power, you know, in and within a community, and I just wanted to bring that power back to the community, and so that's why we founded the Emerald 6 years ago, literally in my mother's basement. I remember the first couple of weeks, it was my mom. She was my editor, proofreader, you know, story designer, everything. From that, we've grown, you know, to an immense amount. I think it's something like 250,000 to 300,000 unique views per month.
Wow.
We want to continue growing, obviously. And we have more of a collaborative effort. So I think growing up, you would see, not to name drop anybody or throw shade or anything, but I think you would see a lot of organizations that, you know, have their own sort of little fiefdoms. My thing is, like, as you said earlier, there's not a lot of us. So, I mean, let's combine with Africatown Media. Let's combine with the Emerald and, you know, some other organizations that are going on. And let's shout from the margins as loudly as we possibly can.
Right. So, you know, I'm a big supporter of black media everywhere. You know, I mean, in college, I was on there at WRVS 89.9 ECSU as a college student in black radio. And, you know, I know how important our outlets are.
Absolutely.
And, you know, where a lot of America, me and you had a conversation off air where it was like a lot of people transplant here. Right. And they tell us that we don't have no community, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, man, we got black newspapers, black radio, black, you know what I'm saying, blogs, black websites, black this and that. And when you look at a lot of the cities where people are coming from, you know what I'm saying, they didn't support their media. So black people, even though we've been spread out and displaced and gentrified, we're still supporters of our media, where you have a high concentration of black people in Chicago, but where's the Defender?
Right. I mean, I gotta say, like, per capita, I don't know if there's any place, you know, that's quite like Seattle in terms of, you know, its media sources, right? I mean, like you said, the Chicago Defender, you got how many, you know, millions of black folks who live out in Chicago, and you know that ceased publication about a year ago. I mean, you got Brooklyn doesn't have a newspaper anymore. Granted, I mean, it's been heavily gentrified like some other areas, but still, Oakland doesn't have a paper anymore.
Imagine that. And we here in Seattle. So all you guys who transplant here, it's cool. I know that you're looking for, like, man, well, there's not enough barbecue shops and there's not enough day parties going on and the black culture isn't here because I can't find a day party. But it's like, man, you might have to recalibrate the way that you quantify the meaning of culture.
And you have to go out and seek it, man. I remember on Juneteenth, I kept hearing people say like, "Oh, there's not enough stuff going on." It's like, nah, the Africatown was doing stuff. There's a skate park that was going on. You know, there were skate parties. There's everything that was going on. So it's like, you know, you got to go out and seek it, but it is here.
All right. So let me jump into, let's get what's going on in the South End, man. The South Side. South Side. Yeah. So, man, how is COVID, I'm sure you could probably go on for hours about it, but, you know, in a summarized sense, how is COVID impacting South Seattle, especially our population?
I mean, to be real, man, all the conversations that I've had, you know, when we were out and about, I mean, obviously, you know, being as safe as we can when our reporters are out here, but you talk to a lot of people and it's like, a lot of them are like, man, we've been prepared for this for 200 some odd years. It's like, you know, we've had to cultivate resilience. We had to, you know, cultivate how to face adversity. And this is just nothing but adversity. I remember talking to somebody, they were like, you know, they were talking to their husband who happens to be white, and she was like, welcome to what it's like to be black.
Yeah, I mean, basically, right?
I mean, you know, and it's real. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, for the first week, it was an adjustment, first couple of weeks, and then, you know, we adjusted. And, you know, we've always had to, whether it's Tarek, whether it's Nikita, whether it's Joaquin, you know, and what you all's doing here at Africatown, I mean, we've always, you know, had to rely on ourselves when, you know, we had these government infrastructures that, you know, just weren't necessarily made for us and never assisted us in the first place. And so we've had to sort of be that assistance. And you see that again now, you know, here where the federal government is having some of its issues, and even our state and local government is having its issues. So for us, it's just, you know, we sort of, you know, closed ranks, if you will, and are doing our thing and providing for our own. Right.
Now, I know that here in the Central District, the breakdown is a lot of the people, at least the legacy people in the neighborhood, the majority of them are either essential workers because they're, you know what I'm saying, they might be in the service industry, so they might be working at stores, cashiers, stockers, nurses' aides, things like that. Or they were sole proprietors, you know, solopreneurs,
right?
And, you know, they're out of business. But then we also have like our restaurant and some other service segment. Right. And some restaurants in the Central District have closed down. A lot of, you know, other businesses that weren't deemed essential, of course, the governor shut them down. Who's still operating and doing business in the South End? You know, especially, I mean, like people getting tired. I mean, I'm not tripping. The Central District got good food. Ain't nobody getting tired of no CD food. So let me change tired. People might be looking for diversity and menu options, man. What's going on out there in the South End?
Well, before I answer your question now, are you asking what's open or what's open? You know what I'm saying? Who's operating, not who's really operating. I mean, what is the, you know, I ain't trying to name drop nobody. I ain't trying to get nobody in trouble. So
okay, so here's what I'm saying is that Taste of the Caribbean is open.
Okay.
But if somebody goes to 23rd and Union, they might find something that's open.
Right. Okay.
So either one, it's your preference.
Okay.
Man.
Well, what's in terms of what is officially open? You know, I got love for my brother Theo down at Island Soul.
Island Soul, so man, that's my mentor, Theo.
Yeah. You can call him in for you know, call in your order. You can go. You can get it. It's getting delivered right now. So they're definitely open. You got the station, obviously that's always open down there.
That's Louise, huh?
Yeah, Louise and Leona. Let's give props to his wife, of course. You know, over in Skyway, you got Angel Food Deli. So if you're over in unincorporated, you know, King County like I am, you know, Angel Food Deli, black owned, you know, much love. You can get some fried okra and some shrimp. You know, I'm about to do that after this taping, as a matter of fact.
Brought us some.
And shout out to for I know technically they are, you know, certain folks are supposed to be shut down. So all I will say is if you need a cut, like I am in desperate need of, I'm looking like your boy Denzel in the opening, you know, frames of He Got Game. There are many barbers who are making house calls. There is a loophole, so if you invite someone into your house, it is not illegal for them to go cut your hair. So there you go. That's all I have to say in terms of call your barber up. Let you know if he, she, whomever is willing to come to your crib. He, she, whomever is willing to come to your crib.
Hey, Earl Lancaster, you want to come over for some ribs? I got some potato salad and a Hennessy. All right, man. So tell me, man, you know what I'm saying? We see a lot of elected officials that are running, you know, I'm not saying running around even in a bad way. Mm-hmm. We've seen them like, you know, increase their activity as far as their communication and their engagement with the community. I don't want to say the names because I want you to say the names, okay. But we know from in the Central District here who we see kind of like ramping it up and engaging with the community on all levels, man. What elected officials or leaders would you say are really taking a lead out there in the South End?
Yeah, I mean, obviously keeping it, within the South End District. I mean, you have over at the King County Council level, King County Council member Gramai Zahalai. He's, doing just great work. I've talked to him, and literally every time I talk to the brother, he's, there's just exhaustion in his voice because he's been up, sun up, from sundown. There's at the city council level, Tammy Morales. She's a city council person for District 2 in the South End. She's definitely continuing to connect with folks on the ground level in terms of folks who aren't, in the elected office. People like Jarrell Davis over at Rainier Beach Action Coalition, and other folks who are, just helping to feed the babies, helping to feed, our elder population. You got the Ben Hunter down there over at the Hillman City Collaboratory. Who, they're still open in terms of making sure people have food and have hot meals who otherwise might not be able to afford it. So, those are just 4 off the top of my head.
Right, and when we talk about what services, I think you just mentioned some people right now that are part of organizations, but for our viewing audience that might be in the South End, live in the CD, got family in the South End, or even beyond, our general geographic area, what are some of the services that are being offered? I know, like right here in the Central District, we talk about Feed the People, Chef Tariq, and the Deaf Chef up there on 18th and Yesler. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There's other kind of programs for people who might need hygienic needs and things. Yeah. What kind of things are occurring there in the South End?
Man, so you got the Rainier Valley Food Bank. It is still the only food bank that you don't have to prove where you live, any ID or anything like that. You can come in, you can get food for free. You have down there over at over in Othello neighborhood at Cafe Red. You got Chef Ariel. She's giving out food. She's giving out seeds.
They got Jamaican and Caribbean food there or something, don't they?
They got and it's vegan style too. So I mean, if you watch your
I'm on the way.
Right. So you watch your health and get the get your taste buds satiated as well. So those are 2 off of the top of my head. You got you got RBAC who are trying to be there to fill in some of these gaps, whether it's medical mask, food, trying to put people in touch with how to, as you guys said earlier, with the unemployment benefits and stuff, the confusion around that, to help to walk you through that as well. So it's again, everybody is closing ranks, and it's Avengers Assemble in here.
All right, so I'm gonna need your help on this. Thank you, Daryl, for bringing it over here to camera number 3. I'm gonna need your help with this, okay? Because my next question is about school and teenagers and young adults.
Yeah.
So Officer Mullen of the Seattle Police Department was kind enough. Man, it was a very nice conversation, by the way. Big shout out to Officer Mullen. You got to be fair with people, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the Seattle Police, we're trying to get a message out to the South End. And so now you see, I waited till I got the South End guy in here so we can spread this message. But Officer Mullen of the Seattle Police Department contacted us and wanted help in getting the word out. They said that over there near the boat launch by Rainier Beach High School and even there at the Safeway, man, you got a lot of teens that are congregating over there. Yeah. And not only that, the Officer Mullen said, well, they appear to be sharing cigarettes and they're definitely sharing libations. Yeah, I mean, I've never had an officer talk like that. He's like, they're sharing life. You know what I'm saying? So for people to understand the code, they're basically drinking and sharing the bottle.
That ain't no cigarettes.
You see what I'm saying? Well, the officer didn't make an assumption that it wasn't a cigarette. He's assuming the best. You see what I'm saying? But man, according to the SPD and the fact that they're reaching out to Africatown and other community groups means that they don't want to go over there and be turning on the lights and try to cite people and this and that and everything else, man. But how I bring this question to you is clearly that's an area right there. And if you're in the South End, if your kids are out there and everything else, man, let's hurry up and get over this. He said they were shooting a music video. This is the thing. And so Officer Mullen was like, man, I appreciate the artistic ingenuity of our young people to want to shoot a music video there in the safe way. Yeah. But, you know, the sharing of the libations probably isn't, you know, it's out of the social distancing guidelines. But overall, so yeah, like I said, parents, if you're out there, please, you know what I'm saying, young people, man, let's get through this. We got a few weeks of this, man, you know what I'm saying? Let's try to practice best social distancing. But for the most part, man, school-age kids, young adults, are they listening to these guidelines?
Whew, I mean, that's a loaded question. I mean, you know, over there in the landing, you know, the landing space across from Rainier Beach High School, actually Bear Sheba Park. I was, you know, I'll go on my daily walks just to, you know, get my vitamin D, get my sunshine. So I was passing by Bear Sheba the other day, and I mean, I got love for my folks. I got love for my people. You know that I do, Amari. But man, there was like 30 people, and it was looking like Medea's family reunion. And I was like, come on, y'all, you got the barbecue grill out and everything. It's like, man, y'all ain't 6 inches from each other. I know it ain't 6 feet. So it's. I mean, and I understand at the end of the day, it's like you're still, those folks, they're seeking belonging, right? And so, you know, we obviously don't want to shame them or anything like that. And I understand, especially when you've been cooped up for so long, you know, you want that connection. But I'll say we can have that connection and do it in a proper way that doesn't jeopardize our safety.
Well, also, you know what I'm saying, we can't stereotype everybody, but the South End has, especially black people, people of color, has a high population of people that are living with the, you know, the whole family or generational. So, you know what I'm saying, Big Mama might be in the house and there also might be a child in the house. Right. And so, you know what I'm saying, you're 17, 18, 22, whatever, and you're out there, you know what I'm saying, you run a risk, at least as we understand the science right now, of coming back home and making grandma sick, Big Mama sick, making a child sick in the home. Right,
because there are some studies that are saying that it isn't just that it is, you know, 6 feet isn't enough, that it has to be a little bit more than that.
Yeah,
and it could, it could possibly be airborne. You never know. The wind blows the wrong way. You never know.
The thing is, I would say to the young people there, over by Rainier Beach, across the city of Seattle, anybody that's viewing this, man, it's crazy when you hear somebody older saying it, because, man, we all been there. We thought we were Superman, you know what I'm saying? But but it's true that it's like, man, I definitely understand where you at right now in life, man. You feel good. It's great. You could probably run a mile in 4 minutes. You might slam dunk, do anything. But it's like, man, and your immune system might be, you know, fantabulistic, but, you know, the social distancing, a big majority of it isn't about you. It's about who you might come in contact with, especially a loved one, and infect them.
Right, and you know, we do know that it's asymptomatic. So I mean, somebody could, you know, if you have a 25-year-old who apparently doesn't show any signs or symptoms, and they could still pass it along to somebody. So again, like you said, I mean, we want to protect our community. We know we don't have a huge population in Seattle as is.
Man,
we want to make sure not to decrease that population.
Let me tell you, man, gentrification and displacement already got it. So, so we've been get the camera there. So we've been displaced by gentrification, displacement, high rents. Don't let coronavirus be the final, you know what I'm saying? Well, the black folks was here until the corona got them, and then, you know, they was out.
We don't want to inadvertently bring it.
If nothing else, we got to stay on to help fight gentrification and displacement. So, you know what I'm saying, to the young people out there in the South End, right there near Rainier Beach, I mean, big shout out to Chief Carmen Best and Officer Mullen, because, you know, I mean, when we talk about we want the Seattle Police Department to be more involved in community and community discussions, the fact that they brought this conversation here, you see what I'm saying? They could easily go and roll on these guys and be like this and that and send people home with tickets, and things easily escalate. You know what I'm saying?
No, they do, and I think, I mean, that's one of the things where as much as I'm for the guidelines and everything, I have been against, fairly adamantly against active enforcement, because we know when there is active enforcement and you bring more of a police presence somewhere, who's going to get hurt the most, and it's usually our folks. Just real quickly too, you're giving shout outs to SPD. I do want to give a shout out to Denise Cookie Baldwin.
Is that Officer Cookie?
Officer Cookie. Much love to Officer Cookie.
Officer Cookie. That's good people.
Yeah, because I know she's been out there, and even when there have been folks with younger folks who I have seen, and some older folks too, smoking more than just cigarettes, we made sure to just keep it cool and let people do what they do. So,
right. No, that's what's up. I mean, policing is an issue where when they wrong, we be ready to hammer them quickly.
Yeah.
But when, you know what I'm saying, when they're doing what they're supposed to do, man, it's only fair to be able to acknowledge that and to be supportive of it. Before we get out of here today, you know what I'm saying? I'm hoping, and really, I think I'm already knowing that the South End is very much like the Central District when we have the question of random acts of humanity. I mean, one thing that kind of keeps us humbled here and inspired is like, man, it's hard to go one day, sometimes even a few hours, especially walking through the Central District, where you don't see just random acts of humanity and goodwill towards other people, man. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to share with us, some random acts of humanity that you've seen there in South Seattle.
Yeah, there have been times where, so I live in the Lake Ridge area, which is adjacent to Skyway. And, I've seen young people who they know certain seniors just, who live alone, don't have a partner. They just stand outside their gates and they shouting and they have a conversation with them, and it's like, Miss Jenkins or whomever, who they never would have maybe talked to before, right? Or never talked to in any substantive way. They're there and they're connecting with, because they know that person needs belonging and needs to just know that people care about them as well. And I would say something that hits close to home, and maybe a bit of a shameless plug, is there's this senior, Minnie Collins is her name, and she's lived in the South End for a majority of her life. And I get this letter from her. I was checking my P.O. box the other day for the Emerald, and she writes me a note, and it's in it is a $100 check. And I know that she's on fixed income, on Social Security, and something less than probably $1,200, $1,300 a month. And yet, she writes this check, which is a pretty big sum, for her, especially during these days and times when people are, struggling to make ends meet. And she says, you and your team and your voice and the voices you have at the Emerald give me hope. And I tell you, man, there's days where I'm like at my wit's end and I'm burnt out, and just those little acts of kindness, those little reminders that what you do have meaning and you impact somebody's life. Those are needed and necessary in these days and times, and I'm glad that we have plenty in both the South End and the CD.
And that's dope. That's dope. But one thing that I like to point out is we get beat up a lot, especially like black men. Where's the leadership and where's this and that or whatever, and for me, it's great because I don't have to go more than 2 blocks over to East Yesler, and I see Chef Tariq Abdullah, and I see the Deaf Chef. And it's crazy because the Deaf Chef and Chef Tariq, they're not just giving food. I mean, you go over there, you need sanitizer, they got you. You need masks, they got you. They need gloves, they got you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they even doing micro loans or micro grants. I probably shouldn't have said that. That's what it's like, man, I'm $20 short, I'm $30 short.
Right.
So my fault, Deaf Chef. I should have lied to people.
I might be there tonight.
You know what I'm saying?
Nah.
But it's great to see that even in time of crisis where people say that leadership isn't there and things aren't there, that, man, we see people rising to the occasion. We see people who are really on the front line that if these actions weren't taken, you know what I'm saying, someone wouldn't find a benefit. They might not find a meal. They might not find, shelter and things like that. This is our community of people who look like us, CD, South End, and beyond, that are all stepping up.
And the real thing is, we talk about these people being here now. These people, at the most part, at least as long as I've lived here, have always been here. They just They just have a light shine.
Here's the spotlight. Hey, so look, before we get out of here, show's getting ready to come to an end, man. How can people catch up with the Emerald?
Yeah, thank you for asking. People can go to seattleemerald.org and southseattleemerald.com. We publish daily, except for we have stopped publishing on the weekend just so we can practice some self-care. But Monday through Friday, you can catch us on the daily. And I just want to tell you again, man, much love to you. This was such a pleasure being on your show.
All right, that's it. Look, ladies and gentlemen, Feel Good Friday comes to an end. What an outstanding and amazing brother, Marcus Harrison Green, who is the publisher of the South Seattle Emerald. Man, thank you for joining us. We're going to be back here on Monday, hopefully with more good news, you know what I'm saying, and definitely some introspective from the community, where I want to remind everybody, please practice your social distancing and everything else and keep it safe. Until Monday, my name is Omari Salisbury. This is the Morning Update here on the Africatown Media Network.